Now, if you like the idea of switching to an electric car, but you're maybe put off by the cost, the government is announcing it is reintroducing a discount scheme to drive up sales.
It will give potential buyers of new electric vehicles a price cut of up to £3,750. Let's talk about the details with the Minister for the Future of Roads, Lillian Greenwood, who joins us now from Westminster. Good morning to you. Loads of our viewers have been in touch with questions about this. Okay. They're interested, but the headline figure, we've just read it, £3,750 off a new electric car. But that's only for cars that cost £37,000 or less. Yeah. The average electric car costs considerably more than that and so won't be included. So how many people are actually going to benefit from this?
Well, we expect tens of thousands of people to benefit from this. There are more and more models available at lower cost. I think there are now 36 models available at less than £30,000. So there will be a range of cars that people will be able to buy accessing this discount.
They're still really expensive, though, electric cars, aren't they?
Well, look, there is no question that there's a gap between the average cost of an electric vehicle, which is probably about £49,000, the average cost of a petrol or diesel, which is about £34,000. But that's precisely why we're offering this discount. It's to try to close that gap so that people can benefit from the cheaper running costs that you get from driving an electric vehicle. People can save around £1,500 a year if they're able to charge at home, and we want to enable people to do that. That's part of what today's about, providing this discount. Of course, it also supports British jobs and British manufacturers. We've got a really important automotive industry in this country, and that's not the only thing. We know that upfront cost is one of the issues. The other is the availability of charging. People have to feel confident that if they switch to an electric vehicle, they're going to be able to charge it, and that's why we're putting huge amounts of money into ensuring that more people are able to charge at home. That's why at the weekend we announced this £25 million fund to local councils to help them roll out cross-pavement charging solutions. This is where you put a gully through the pavement to run a charging cable through so people can safely travel over. It's not going to be tripping people up, but it allows people to access that cheap domestic electricity if you can park on the road outside your house. And we're also, of course, expanding charge points on the roads, on the motorways, and at places that people find convenient. You know, supermarkets, cinemas, restaurants. We need to make it easy for people to incorporate charging into their daily lives. OK, and we will come to charging in a moment, but just on the price of these cars, call me cynical, but if dealerships, garages know that the government are going to be offering discounts to people, isn't it very likely that those garages will put up their prices? So it won't actually really end up being that much help to us, the motorists, in the end. Well, look, actually, I think some manufacturers might lower their prices. So if they get under the £37,000, then they'll be able to sell that model with a discount. We know that we want electric cars to be more affordable. That price gap is coming down all the time, and this discount is there to help people to make that switch. That's what we want. We want people to be able to choose an electric vehicle. People who have chosen an electric vehicle, over 90% of them say they never go back. It can save people money. We want it to be accessible to more people. That's why we're targeting the lower end of the electric vehicle market, not luxury cars that people can clearly, afford to buy already.
But we
want more people to access it.
This scheme only applies to new cars, doesn't it? Shouldn't you be encouraging people to buy cheaper second-hand electric cars?
Well, the price of second-hand electric cars is, of course, affected by the price of the brand new ones, and the benefits of bringing in this discount will feed through to the second-hand electric market. Already, 40% of second-hand electric cars sell for less than £20,000, so they're becoming very popular in that second-hand market, and people are making that switch, and that's what we want to encourage.
You say popular. June in Lincolnshire is not impressed with hers. She bought an electric vehicle for 9 months. She's now gone back to petrol because she said in Lincolnshire she couldn't go anywhere without stressing out about whether they were going to be able to get a charge. She says in seaside towns near her there just isn't enough of an infrastructure for the local community as well as tourists. What do you say to people like June who really think that the state of the country's charging isn't up to the kind of changes you're introducing?
Well, I'm really sorry to hear about June's experience, but as I say, that's not typical of people who've switched to an electric vehicle.
Well, we're having a lot of messages from people who say it is very typical.
Absolutely, there is more to do on charging infrastructure. Lots of people, will be charging at home. They probably only do local journeys to and from work, to the shops and things like that. They probably only need to charge their vehicle perhaps once or twice a week, and they can do that at domestic electricity rates, which means, if you're on the right tariff, you can charge for it. You can be travelling for as little as 2p a mile. That means you could go all the way from London to Birmingham for £2.50. Of course, we need more chargers out and about. That's why we're supporting every single local authority in England through our local electric vehicle infrastructure fund, and that's seeing the rollout of it's going to roll out 100,000 chargers over the next few years everywhere across the country, including in Lincolnshire and those sort of coastal towns that you've talked about. As more people switch to electric vehicles, it's absolutely right that we need more public chargers out and about on the network, and that's precisely what we're delivering.
Okay.
Up by over 30% this year, now 82,000 chargers already out on the UK's roads.
You say you're helping people to charge up at home, which is fine if you've got a driveway or if you live on a street where there might be a charger nearby. Austin's been in touch. He lives in a block of flats and he's heard you talking about gullies and new schemes, but he's not convinced that charging will ever work for somebody like him.
Well, look, we recognise that we want charging to be an electric vehicle to be available to absolutely everybody, and I recognise that although around about 70% of people do have a driveway that they can charge on, that isn't true for everyone. The idea of gullies is so that people who live on a terrace street, who can park outside their house, on the road outside their house, will be able to charge. Of course, we also have discounts and incentives to encourage landlords to install charge points in blocks of flats in the car park that might be outside. It is, these are the challenges that we face, and they're the ones that we are determined to meet, because we want owning an electric vehicle to be a reality, to be a possibility for absolutely everyone. And that's why we are working with local authorities to introduce these on-street charging, the sort of ones that come from a lamppost or perhaps at the end of a street. And very many more of those are going to be rolled out in the years ahead to enable people like Austin and others who live in blocks of flats or in terraced houses to be able to switch to an electric vehicle.
And what about people like you? I think you've said in the past that you've got a hybrid mixed vehicle at the moment and we're looking to move to a fully electric one in the future. Are you going to be taking use of this new scheme yourself?
I don't know that. I sent a WhatsApp to my husband this morning saying, have you seen this? Because when we get our next car, it is going to be electric. And I convinced him, to say, look, there are more charge points out there. We'll be able to charge it at home and we'll be able to do the journeys that we want to do. And I think that's what we want to give other people, that confidence to make the switch.
What did your husband say?
He said yes, because he knows, he's got to do as he's told, really.
If you're watching this morning, sir, do let us know your views on electric cars along with everybody else. Thank you very much indeed, Minister. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.